Good morning, today 167. Bit of a mess this morning because we left quite late. We've got shitloads on today. We're meant to be doing the big pour and we are not ready. The rebar team was meant to be here at 6 o'clock. It's now 7:15, nothing at all. The scaffolders, the guys moving the scaffolding, carpenters. So I've got two carpenters, a mason and a labourer here at the moment moving the scaffolding from the front. We took it all down last night. It just needs to now be re-erected in place so they can crack on with the next pieces. But yeah, we are probably about 4 hours behind, and the concrete's meant to be coming here and starting at 9 o'clock. So they can start on this building here, but it won't take them too long to get that one poured, that's for sure. So we've got the bobcat turning up, which hopefully is this a guy turning up now? Looks like it might be. So we need to get this all moved down here so the concrete lorry can pull up, and then they're going to come over with the actual pump and pour this roof and then that roof. So this roof they can crack on with, but I can't see it taking them that long, and we also haven't pulled the lines on this roof yet as well, so we do need to make sure that the drainage is up where it needs to be, and obviously we pull the lines to ensure when they do the concrete they know what depth are going from one side to the other so the water can run as well. So I mean, worst case scenario, we can actually put a different material on top to try and create those runs, but in an ideal world, if we can try and get the actual flows and runs actually organised in the concrete, then that makes life a lot easier. Either way, it's either going to be a complete 6-inch slab, or it's going to be sort of 8-inch at one side and come down to 5-inch, but it needs to be 6-inch minimum really. So yeah, probably sort of 7-8 inches down to 6, wherever the drain is going to be. I think it's in this corner here. This roof, different story obviously. Let me turn you around. We actually have a gutter right in the middle of the building, right at the back. We have one in this corner and we have one in the far corner. So in an ideal world, we need 2 lines in the middle of the building here and the middle of the building here, with flows going either side, going to each drain. So again, we're going to start off with about 7.5, 8 inches this side, and we're going to run it back 8 inches down into 6 inches at the far back. But again, the rebar guys aren't even ready at the moment, so they need to get out there and finish off what they've got to do. As you can see, there's no beam here. There's no boxing there, so we can't put the box up until they put the beam there. This is beamed off, but all that's not, so we've got to get the boxing round. There's no rebar on the roof at all, so they've got to rebar that. So they really are behind. So for them to not be here first thing this morning when they know how behind they are is absolutely amazed me. But anyway, I've just spoken to them. Sean's me they're en route, so but their version of early when they're behind is not my version. But anyway, so we're up against it this morning, so I don't know if we're going to let the concrete company down or not, but if we do, we've got a lot of concrete that's going to be paid for that's not going to go on, so that clearly is not an option. So the guys are here putting up the scaffolding. We need to try and erect these boxes sooner rather than later. All it is this. So it's just hanging for, on the front it's about 6 8-foot sides that are 4 foot deep, and then we need to bolt them through. Morning, Junior. So we've got to get that done sooner rather than later. This had a batten. They put a 4x2 on the wall here and then lowered it down to here. I think we need to do the same on that side, and then we need to use the 8-foot lengths I've had cut and literally drill straight through, just 2 on each one. I think yesterday they sort of they weren't in sync and it took too long to do 4. So let's have a bit more of a plan today and see if we can get the rest of them done. So I'll update you throughout the morning. I'm sure I'll look about 45 years older than I do now in about 3 hours time. The things you have to do when you build a luxury down.
I'm gonna stick this one with a nail.
Yeah, let's do it. So they're carrying these into place. Then we've got to screw them into here and then screw them into the wall. Everyone at home's asking why you're always standing around. Everyone on the internet. Now get working.
Right.
Okay, so we're 2:30 and unfortunately concrete did not pour. Everyone's asking already. It didn't pour. Basically what happened was last night we left here with all the formwork off the building with a view to coming in early and getting it sorted out, because the rebar itself, I think I might have said in the video before, the rebar was hanging out too far, so it was probably about 3/4 of an inch to the formwork, and you need to have at least 2 inches. So we decided to leave it to the morning to give the guys the time to rectify it with the rebar, and then we're going to put the formwork up ourselves. But for some unknown reason, ready mix came out at 6:30, which I didn't know. Saw the state of the building and cancelled and pushed our pool team to another site they had. So if Ready Mix are watching, poor performance, boys. No communication and assumed. As they say, arse of you, arse of me. That's not how you treat people. You should communicate. I did email last night telling you we can go a bit later, it'd be better. But at the same time, the cottage is done. You could have poured that straight away as soon as you got here. That would have taken you a minimum of an hour, hour and a half. And all the formwork on the front of the building was done and dusted by 10 o'clock. So you could have been continuing. So anyway, long story short, but the fact of the matter is we're not pouring today. So the guys are now just making sure they're going around, tightening everything up, making sure that all the balances are good. Now we've got a bit more time. Obviously everything internally is all bolted anyway, so it's just going around, making sure the bolts are in place where they should be. I've told them now they've got a bit more time to scrape the ceilings and get the hoover up there, and I want all of it duct taped so that we don't have anything coming through the ceilings at all. So yeah, from my point of view, it's just trying now just to go through and tidy things up, get things a little bit livable, but the downside is we're now going to have another week before concrete can be poured. So that does really piss me off, because that's now put us right behind. We were aiming to try and get a good 2 to 3 weeks solid on fitting this place out. We're still going to get that, but it's going to be a week delayed. So that does mean we're going to be pushing it to get this ready for Christmas. So anyway, I'll walk you around and show what's actually happened anyway. The guys are out here, looks like they're trying to do a little bit of tidying up for once. That's not like them. I also heard I was pissed off. So we've got the boarding up. The rebar guys have had a bit of an issue with some of their stuff, so they're still working away upstairs. Finish off some extra bits, which are actually going to be for the overhang. So you may as well crack on with that. So as you can see, formwork's all up. Jacks are all in place. Here's been done obviously for a good week, so this is all bolted in, all done anyway, so this could have been pulled straight away. Extra drainage obviously coming up, because some of it obviously has to increase up. And Beckles was doing the lines up there this morning, so as far as all the lines have been pulled, and all the runs and flows were measured up, so that was all done for the guys. So we've decided to go for an 8-inch at the front and then work back to 6 at the rear. I'll also take you up in a minute and show you the steels as well, because obviously all the steels are in now as well, so they weren't done yesterday, so the rebuild guys have got that done. This was the infrastructure. We had all the actual scaffolding on. So as you can see, all the boxings ins all bolted all the way along. We'll probably put some 4x2s across the tops as well to make sure we hold the boxes in themselves. And we also need to make sure that there's no gaps on the front as well, because that's also where sort of concrete pours out. But other than that, I'll film the rest in a minute. So, close of day. What is the time now? 4:30. What an unfortunate day. We've got shed loads done. There's one positive. Okay, so still got rebar hanging everywhere. I don't know why. We're meant to be finished there. Rebar everywhere. They always say they've got no rebar and they've got no steel and no wire, but then you walk around, there's rebar everywhere and there's still wire everywhere. But anyway, as you can see, the monster is pretty much done. We are now starting a few things. Starting the pool itself, so just tidying things up. Starter bars, as you can see, going into the pool itself. We're going to get that blocked up tomorrow, and then we're going to consider what we're going to do in here. The pool man is meant to be coming today, but I've not seen him as yet. We've had a bit of a tidy up, as you can see. There's actually a patio there, do you see it? Don't normally see anything like that. In here we've had a bit of a sweep out. The jacks are everywhere, but actually in a couple of piles. All the formwork's all in and bolted. Through here's had a bit of a sweep up too. All of the scaffolding that was outside has been taken down and brought in. So you see what I mean? It's all been taken down now and moved on. Let's get those in. We've brought in the actual timber that was used out there. It's going to go back out at some stage, obviously after the pour, to take the formwork down. So rather than carting it elsewhere, it's been brought in here for now. Most of the scaffolding has been taken out or taken down. The foyer has been done today, so a lot of the electrics have been running today as well. So there's conduit now hanging out of woodwork everywhere. So in here is now done. The scaffolding for the side is probably still out. Yeah, so we actually done the side scaffold, the side boarding as well. That was all done. Again, a few electrical conduits coming out of walls for the ceilings, as you can see. They're everywhere really. Formwork's been brought inside rather than being out in the rain, if it does rain. It does have a little bit of rain every now and then, and I've asked the guys tomorrow to get all this sorted out because there's just stuff everywhere. There's some formwork we're going to still need, there's some formwork we're not going to need, there's bolts everywhere that shouldn't be left outside. Need all that taken in. In here was cleaned up as well. So it's a little bit cleaned up, some formwork inside so it doesn't get wet. We had a bobcat here this morning to level out the actual driveway just so that if the concrete truck did turn up, it would have been able to drive in and get its legs out and do what it had to do. But that was a waste of time. Electrician still up on the roof doing his stuff. I might get up on the roof as well and show you actually what's going on. It is a sight, that's for sure. It's a big old lump. Let me have a quick look. Okay, so up on the roof, let's have a quick look what's going on. So all of the actual rebar's all been finished off up here. Still some tidying up to happen. The beams in, which I'll show you in a second. Actually got Mel's doing the conduits, going through the beams, going over. This is for the ceiling light, so obviously the ceiling itself, there's a roof going that way. So this would be the actual conduits going through the roof itself. Let me show you the beam. So the up-step beam we've actually got, I don't think we're actually going to have to go as high as we have on the other one downstairs. I think they're normally 6 inch. But this one won't need to go so tall because they used inch beams, steel sorry. Look at the bloody size of it. Monstrous. So anyway, that's done. More conduits coming up. The drains have been put in. You can see the one at the end there, in the middle. There's also one in the corner over there as well. And the one over there has been finished off as well. Obviously the beam for the roof itself has been put in as well, which is here. So they've still got to take that way, by the looks of it. I'm pretty sure it's meant to be going that way as well. For some reason they haven't done that. So there's obviously more 1 inch going this way as well. That's the overhang between the living room and the bedroom. So this is where downstairs where the utility room and everything is, and there's obviously there's no wall going through there, so this is to support that up, whereas this is a block wall. This will be poured. Hopefully the Gorilla Glue or the Gorilla Tape will stick. It is temperamental, this stuff. Really got to get on it because the surface on here is not very good, because this is the formwork that was downstairs. It was left out for a long time, so it's now not very smooth, am I calling it. So if it's not been put down very good, then it won't stick. It's definitely lifting in places, that's for sure. Need to make sure that's down properly. And then obviously we still need to smock down the front of here, so that's the next stage of problems that we've got that we haven't dealt with yet. We're meant to be actually be able to get a smock down the front. Well, that's not going to happen at the moment, that's for sure. So we can't really leverage against the formwork. So you see you've got a big gap down here, but no gap here. So that is dangerous. So we need to try and make sure tomorrow we get down there and try and leverage that backwards somehow. Don't know how we're going to do it, but it's definitely got to be done. All of the steel has to be away from the formwork. Has to be. So stuff like this, where they've obviously smocked it and they can't hear, this needs to be untied and moved. You can't just leave it. So we've now got a week to rectify all this bullshit, so that's one thing I'm going to be getting them to do. It's giving me no, let's just dust it under the carpet and move on. We're going to get everything done, and it's going to be done properly. It bloody kills me. And that is, unfortunately, a lot of tradespeople attitude. If they don't, no one questions it, they just leave it. But without being rude to Bayesian life, it is a lot worse here, I personally feel. So you have to have your wits about you, otherwise they literally, when your back's turned, corners cut. And the trouble is, near the sea, you can't cut corners. Physically cannot cut corners with steel because the salt is absolutely deadly. And before you know it, you've got blown beams. So we have to physically make sure we get that smart. They managed to get one down there, but they need it all the way along. Oh, George is here. Nice. George the plumber. There's certain things they just leave up and they don't need to leave. Threaded rods. Dealt with those. Don't need them anymore. Not too sure why they're still up there. Again, we got no wire. We got no wire. Fucking wire everywhere. That's why you got no bloody wire. You leave it out everywhere. It's literally everywhere. Everywhere you look, there is wire. Today they were whinging they don't even got any wire. Look. Wire here. Wire here. Wire here. And wire's bloody expensive. Anything to do with metal is expensive anyway. So it's like it just gets mistreated. Look, more wire. Wire absolutely everywhere, look. Unreal. So anyway, that is day over. Everyone's gone, apart from the electrician plumber. They're still up there doing their stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the day. Fingers crossed, next Saturday, we'll be pouring. And in the meantime, we need to try and find things to do that are going to be working towards not just keeping people working, but actually getting the building moving on. There's a few things we can do. Pouring, for argument's sake, boxing and pouring, there's a few things we can do. So we need to get a little bit of a snagging list up together, all the things we've got to do. Fill the shower wall, for instance. Fill the shower wall with concrete at the top, give it a plaster. There's plenty of things we can do. But it is things at the moment that aren't going to get the building finished. So, but we have to keep busy. So let's get those snagging things done. We can get this rebarred. Might be able to find someone that can come out and concrete that in the meantime. Just need to try and get the job edging forward. So we shall see what else there is to do. And that's it. Day over.